just like you got a problem with the exes, just like you got a problem with the girlfriends and the boyfriends, just like you got a problem with that, God has a problem with strange relationships with his bride. And so often we in the church, we're distracted with other things instead of being committed to the Lord. He said, I'm coming back for a bride, a church without spot or wrinkle. I'm coming back for a bride. My bride's supposed to be walking down the aisle, showing the world that she is committed to me, and then I'm standing here supposed to be declaring my commitment to her. Anything in between is dangerous for the relationship. That's even the scripture said you're supposed to leave and cleave. When we give our hearts to Jesus, we're supposed to leave the world and cleave to the kingdom. Now that's simple. But we make it so complicated because we want to hold on to our boyfriends, girlfriends. And Jesus said, it's supposed to be me and you alone. Oh, y'all ain't listening to me today. So when I talk about submitting yourself to the Lord, I'm talking about submitting yourself to someone who have your best interests at heart. Now, I'm be honest with you. I used to be joking sometimes with Pastor Vita, and I used to say this, and sometimes I still do. One of these days, people are going to really believe this book. This book is the roadmap for success. This book is the roadmap for your prosperity. This book is the roadmap to your peace, your joy, your satisfaction. You think all that other stuff, which is temporary. You know, people get high, get drunk, and then the next day they sick, and they, over the toilet or whatever, hangovers, you name it. You know how it is, and then you turn around and you call that stupidity fun. And you being controlled and seduced by a plant. The coca plant, the marijuana plant. And God, when he created Adam, he said, Adam, I want you to have dominion. The plants ain't supposed to be controlling you. You're supposed to be controlling it. The grains, the grapes, the leaves, the bees, the birds, and the seeds. We find ourselves being controlled by all of that stuff. When God wants us to be submitted to him. See, when you die, and go to Mark. Mark, let me go and give you some Bible and make this a legal message. Mark the 10th chapter. Go with me to Mark the 10th chapter. Now, I want to bring this point home. Mark the 10th chapter. Jesus is calling us to be committed. That's what he's calling us, to be committed. And see, when we become committed, we won't get seduced. It's easy to seduce somebody who's on the fence. It's easy to seduce somebody who don't know what they want. It's easy to seduce somebody who are not committed to a purpose. Amen, somebody. That went over very well. I got a round of applause, standing ovation, all of that good stuff. Praise the Lord. Now, I'm talking about resurrection power, but you're not going to see your life resurrected until you die to your life. Until you're willing to die, say, you know what, I quit. Lord, I surrender all. Lord, I'm tired of the mess I made with my life. I don't know about you. I done made some messes. I talk about me because I ain't going to get mad with me. I have made some messes with my life. So I'm not just talking about you. I'm talking about when you're not surrendered to the Lord, you by default will make a mess of your life. If you want to admit it. And then you look at people. Now, isn't this interesting? You look at success, quote unquote, successful people. Successful people. I forget the young lady's name. She had achieved her law degree and achieves this and was in broadcasting and just doing all so well. But she turned around and killed herself. And you're like, what happened? You look at the life of Kate Spade and the success she achieved in the fashion world and everything. And before she died, she brokered a deal, $1 billion deal that she sold her Kate Spade brand to Coach. A multi-billion-dollar deal. And I mean, you look at that, you say, and then she turned around. She killed herself. See, you got to understand all this. Solomon, if Pastor Vita mentioned about Solomon, and Solomon got seduced away from the will of God because of all the women. He had harems and wives, plural. And they all took him away from God. And if you read the book of Ecclesiastes, you see the descendants, I'm trying to pronounce the word, Jesus. He became cynical. He became very cynical. And you see the cynicism of what he went through in the book of Ecclesiastes. And he started telling, he got to the place. Now, here's a man who had all the money, all the women, all the blank, blank, and all of this and all of that. And you know what his conclusion was? Vanity. All is vanity. Empty and unsatisfying. And he became the #1 cheerleader to Mick Jagger's song, I Can't Get No Satisfaction.